Welcome to the October 10th, 2024 meeting of the Decatur Architectural Review Board. I will call roll with each commission member answering present. Ellis Chenault.
Present.
Barbara Kelly.
Present.
Patrick Rasco.
Present.
Michael Rogers is absent today. I'm Jacob Woods, the board chair, and we have a quorum present. Dr. Swope is the city's preservation specialist. Thank you to everyone who is attending today. Your involvement in this commission's proceedings is vital to the effectiveness of this process. There's a copy of the agenda out front if you would like one. Historic district designation means your neighborhoods have been recognized by the United States government, the state of Alabama, and the city of Decatur as being architecturally or historically significant to our community. Historic districts are not created to prevent changes, but rather to ensure that the proposed changes are appropriate to the individual property and the districts as a whole. The board's responsibility is to review the appropriateness of all proposed changes. Each historic resource within the district is assessed on its own individual merits. What is appropriate for one property may not be appropriate for another based on resource age, location, neighboring properties, and stylistic details. The Architectural Review Board's rulings are based on written standards and regulations that guide our review and decision-making. These guidelines and the Commission's decisions have the force of city ordinance. You can access our guidelines along with application forms on the city's website. Our hearing process is as follows. Staff will present the applications. When they read your name and property address, please be prepared to come to the podium. Staff will present the application and staff assessment of each request. When staff has finished presenting the application item, the applicant and/or designated representative will then state their name and address and provide any additional information or comments regarding that application item. The board may ask clarifying questions of the applicant at this time. Next, we will hear any public comments on that particular application item only. After public comment has closed, the chair will entertain a motion and the board will discuss and dispense of that application item. Staff will then proceed to the next application item and so forth. An approved certificate of appropriateness, or COA, will be issued in the form of an email that's copied both the applicant and the building department approximately 1 week after this hearing. The document will outline and reaffirm what was approved and that the project has been approved. A COA must be issued before a building permit can be obtained. If any changes to your project are anticipated after the COA is issued, it is the responsibility of the homeowner to contact staff, and she will help guide you. In some cases, you may be required to submit the changes for review and issuance of a new COA. If your project is denied and you are not issued a COA, you'll be issued a letter stating the reasons for denial and additional information. Denied COAs will be sent via certified mail to the property owner's address filed with the Morgan County Revenue Commissioner's Office. You may resubmit an application with revised plans at a future meeting. There is an appeal process for a denied COA as well, which is spelled out in the municipal ordinance under section 1825 and 1892. After all applications are heard, the commission will entertain general comments from the public limited to 3 minutes per individual. All right, our first item of business is the approval of the minutes from September 12th, 2024.
I have a correction. Item 2, approval of minutes, August 8th. The motion was to approve the minutes, not a COA. Just a typo.
Thank you. Corrected.
Any other discussion? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve as corrected.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? COA since the September meeting.
721 Ferry Street, demo of damaged sun porch to the slab and remove approximately 10 feet of chimney. 406 Canal, replacing kind damaged front columns and new gutters. 809 Line Street, front and side porch handrails. 644 Johnston, new rear fence.
Next are COAs for the month of October.
First one is 1018 Sherman Street Southeast. This is the Stokes home in Albany District. Been working, you've seen this one sort of multiple times. It's had different additions and changes made to it since they purchased the property. This is the front. And what they're requesting is at the rear, it is a pergola that has a corrugated metal roof to allow for it to essentially turn into a full porch. And it's not visible from the house. Ron, I believe you are. I'll have you come up because I want to make sure I got it right. I'm not showing it on the plan here, but it's not visible from the street, so it's in this area, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions?
Is it the dark part there by the garage? Is it on the
No,
garage?
that's what the board approved a couple of months ago. That's a garage carport.
Okay.
So it is, Ron, it's in this section right here, correct?
Correct. See the door to the right there is the kitchen door. To the left of that is the new bathroom addition. It'll actually be beyond that new bath addition.
So right here.
Not quite all the way to that carport.
Okay.
But,
So it would be in this area right in here. And so the front of the house is here, so this is the main front, this is a sun porch, so it's pushed back behind the primary facade.
Is it going out farther than the bathroom addition, like in depth?
yes.
But not quite to the garage?
Correct. Correct.
I don't have any other comments. I think what the commission's looked at before in the past is less restrictive on things that are not visible from the street. And since this is set back and not visible, I don't have any other comment.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Did you see that addition? Second one is 316 Lafayette Street Northeast. Mr. Davis, this is a rear carport and an old Decatur. The city received a call when our carport being installed at the site and sent staff out to investigate. The action request for this one is it's essentially a retroactive COA, which is approval of installation of a metal carport. So this is the front of the house, and that's standing on the sidewalk if you're looking at the house to the right, so sort of to the east a little bit. Under new construction outbuildings, 22.2, site new buildings of a lot appropriately locate new outbuildings to rear of dwelling or setback from side elevations. 22.10, new carports should be located at the rear of dwellings and not readily visible. Prefabricated metal carport designs are not appropriate visible from primary vantage points. Staff assessment, there's an alley to the southeast of the front facade, which provides substantial visibility to the rear yard from the street because of this alley. And the board needs to determine if they find the current location of the carport is visible from the primary vantage point.
Any comments?
Can I make a couple of comments?
Sure.
The
We
reason,
need you to come on up so we can get you on the microphone, please. Thank you.
All right, I'm Mike Davis. We put the carport up. The reasons for doing that was Lafayette is a one-way street, okay? And had been parking out on the street because there's no garage with the house. And when you're running a one-way street and when you park out on the road, I'm having to open my door out into traffic. Traffic coming up behind me, not to me. When the neighbors across the street also park on the street, on a one-way street, and you've got two cars parked, there's very little room to go through. As a matter of fact, if you look up Lafayette Street prior to the historic district, you do see that a lot, and a lot of people try not to come through there because you just can only fit a car. We had, when we moved into the house, had parked a car back there on that pad. The pad was existing with the house. It's an old pad because it's got rock and stuff in the cement. Anyway, we would park back there, but the trees, as you can see, hang over there. They're not our trees, and we can't do anything with them. So we get a lot of sap and limbs falling back there. Because when we parked there originally, when we bought the house about 6, 7 years ago, we were putting a cover over the car at night, which is a little bit of a pain to take it on and off every morning, but you'd still have the issue with the limbs and stuff falling. So we cleared out the alleyway there and took the existing pad and moved the carport there so that we wouldn't have to park on the street, because personally, I think in the historic district, it's nice if you don't have the cars parked on the street so that you can see the houses. And if we moved to the back and didn't have the carport, then we're ruining expensive car because we can't can't clean it every week. Plus, what kind of motivated this really to happen this soon was about a month and a half before that, my son had his car parked on the street. He goes to work like at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So he doesn't have that issue so much about opening the car door with traffic. But apparently there was an issue with the police at the house right next to it. There's our house, a vacant lot, and then a house on the corner. And I don't know what the issue was, but at 2 in the morning, the police came, and somewhere during that process, they had a car towed away from that lot. And in that process, his car got sideswiped. Now, he didn't know that until the next day because he went out there in the morning, got in the car, and then during the day, he saw the damage that was done on his car. And it was like, well, I have a concern over my safety of getting out of the cars into the traffic. And then we had the issue with the trees. If it was on our property, I'd cut them down with the approval of the board. But they're not on my property. When Ms. Swoops came by, she had given me a number to call Decatur Utility to see if they could come in and do anything. They said they could not. It would have to be either the owner of the property doing it, because the wires that run from just beyond that carport is a transformer. The wires that run out to Lafayette, they consider wires to the neighbor's house, and it's not their responsibility. They said that they would come down and disconnect the wires if the owner of the house wanted to cut the limbs down, but they'd have to cut the power off to that house for a day. And I'm not going to ask them to do that. And the neighbor, I've already talked to him, and he can't afford to cut the trees down. So we were in that dilemma. We again went to the backyard. There was an existing pad. So I'm assuming that was used for parking cars, because at one time the house had been a boarding house. And instead of trying to either get over that or rip up that concrete and pour it further back behind the house, we just went with the existing pad. Now, I will say this is a temporary thing for us, because The plan is to finish out the house. It was built in 1888. There's a lot of work to be done on inside the house, and the monies are going to go there before we go into building a full-blown garage, which we'd like to have an apartment above that garage. So in the meantime, we put up a carport. So I guess that's all I've got to say. Appreciate any consideration.
I know for me, I did drive by and look at it, and it is clearly visible from the street, which kind of puts us in for me, a dilemma. The rest of you guys can comment and go, but for me, once it becomes visible, then I want it to be built out of materials that tend to blend in with the house or match the house. And that's kind of what the guidelines have us laid out for when it's visible. If it's not visible, like I said on the previous application, what we're looking at is flexibility when we can't see it. So if this were moved further into the backyard or where you couldn't see it, then you could use it. If it is going to go in this location, I feel like it needs to be constructed out of materials that match the house.
I understand that, and we had considered that, but again, then we'd have to go in there and do gravel, pour pad if we moved it. Plus, when we eventually do the garage, that area is not, we wanted that for the yard. One of the things that had come up when Ms. Swoops was by the house was a discussion of maybe putting up a privacy fence back there so that you can't see it when you come by the road. Is that an alternative that we could do?
I think there is fencing. I don't know about visibility. We have had some people that brought plans before us that showed fencing and some different things that was able to hide, to reduce that visibility.
Well, the interest
I
would
don't
be
know
in
if that's
doing
possible yet. I mean, I have to have something before me to
Look
look
at
at.
that, looks like it would be visible above fence. What's your timeline on the garage you're talking about? Unknown at the moment?
You can come inside the house and help estimate it, but yeah, we're having to rip out plaster in just about every room. And I don't know if you can tell.
It's not in the
That's
next.
a 3,400 square foot house.
Yeah, not in the next short.
I would say, probably 5 years.
Caroline, did we not have a situation with this before? Another,
There was a carport several years ago that was metal that the board voted needed to be removed from the site because it was visible from the street.
Well, I know there's other carports in the neighborhood, but I'm assuming they were grandfathered. Just about 3 blocks away, there's
They could have been before the district, they could have been in a spot where they're not visible.
Oh,
I
no,
don't know.
it's visible. I went by and took pictures of it. It's more visible than this. But again, I didn't know if maybe that was grandfathered or what.
What's the height of the carport?
Carport, to the eve there is about 6 foot. So if we put it for a privacy fence, you'd be at an angle. You might see a little bit of the top of the roof. Intentions, my son wants to put up a privacy fence anyway on the side that goes to the alleyway, because he's saying even with the carport, he's still getting some sap and debris, if you will, off the trees that belong to the neighborhood. And you can even see the trees even hang over our house, and I don't know what to do about that, because one of these days it's going to fall.
Do we have the plat of this house up there? Like, is there space over there in that open area to move it?
Yes. Again, we'd have to put something down so that we're not driving on dirt, mud, etc. Matter of fact, we had considered that when we put that in there because one, it wouldn't be visible. Basically what you do is you take the carport as existing over that pad and you shift it this way so everything would be back behind the house and it wouldn't be visible then. Again, the problem would be I'd have to go in there and put something in that at some point in time we're going to have to take out, and I don't want to tear up the existing pad that's there because it's, like I said, it's not
I'm trying
something.
to get it in my head. Is the alley, is that where it's actually?
Yeah, it's a little strip right there, so it's not in and out. It's right at that.
No, it's not in the alley.
It's not in the
No,
alley
it's
property.
No.
not in the alley. He doesn't own the alley, so.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I was
adjacent.
wondering.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
adjacent.
Okay.
Now, as a matter of fact, when we bought the house, that alleyway, and I can show you a video of that from when we looked at the house, that alleyway from the transformer back, I guess it was overgrown with ivy and poison oak, and you had to walk. It was hard to get back to the back of the yard, and there was a chain link fence in there. And we took the chain link fence down, but you couldn't have driven a car back there, not by any means. And so if anything, it has improved the looks of the area by getting rid of that debris and everything in the alley, and people now can drive through from both sides, because I know the people that are working on that remodel of the big house on the corner, they'll come in that alleyway and park between the two houses, but now when they leave, they just pull on out in the area that we've cleaned out. I mean, if I could move it sooner, you know, and put in a good garage, I would, but I mean, we've got so much to work to do in that house, and my son doesn't want to just put new stuff in there. It's like the windows, he'll take the windows that they went in there and painted everything in the house. I mean, everything. And so he's taken the windows out, put back in the counterweights, the original counterweights, and cleaned it up so that the windows are actually being used as they were meant to be way back when. So his intent is to, you know, make it as close to original as it can. And obviously we go to the place down in Coleman to get parts and lumber and stuff from Southern Accents and so forth.
That's correct.
But that's where the money's going right now, is we're redoing the main level, which includes a kitchen and a bathroom, dining room, 4 other rooms, and a laundry room. And then you've got the second floor, which has a bathroom, 5 rooms, and then you have a floor to attic that has 2 rooms.
It sounds like it's going to be great.
Oh, it was a great deal. He got a great deal on it. Or we
Very
did.
appreciative of the time and effort you're putting into it. And I'll just be honest with you, the carport is a big hiccup for me.
Yeah.
Just from the aesthetic and the rules that we have to go by.
Could I
The
come?
only way I could see it working is if it's moved back there where it's not visible.
Okay, before we get to that point, could I maybe bring back some drawings if we put in a privacy fence, what it would look like from the road?
Well, you can definitely come back to another COA.
Sure.
We'll have to take care of this one first.
Okay, yeah, and it'd have to be
You
a-
can definitely bring something back.
Yeah, because I'd have to do another COA for a fence.
Is the peak of that probably around 10 feet?
Probably 9.
9, 8?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it looked
not-
like- It looked higher than 8.
It's, we didn't get one of the ones that were like that. We got it with a peak and more slanted. Again, for that reason, that and for the limbs that fall.
just the way that lot opens up. Right there, there's just-
Yeah, just wide open. So this would be more of a situation where this one's voted on as is, and then at another time you come back with the,
It'd be like an appeal, correct?
Just a
Just a new COA.
A new COA.
Maybe a new COA.
I
So
think
it's
we need to set a timeline there.
And there needs to be a timeline.
To be brought, because if not, this is allowed to remain indefinitely if you don't put a timeline on it.
that was gonna be my next
Well,
question.
but that's a separate, because
One
one
has
has
to be a separate one.
Yeah.
If you're denying this, he needs to bring a new one. If it's, you either put a date to remove it by, if a new one is not brought, if that's what you're voting on, so that you can know that he'll bring something back within a certain time frame.
Any other discussion? Good. Do I have a motion?
You have a motion? Yes. With a,
Just a motion to approve the carport.
right,
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
So now we need clear guidance on the timeline for removal or for bringing in another COA for consideration.
What did we do timeline on the last one we had?
The last one was complete removal.
What was the timeline? Was it
I think it was a month,
2 months?
maybe. See, most of our COAs are for complete removals. I'm trying to think through, but it was probably like a month, maybe two. Because if he does a new COA, it would be crunching to get one on November's agenda just because it's 2 weeks out. So it would be a December agenda, which means application by like November 28th, so like the day before Thanksgiving, the 27th.
So 2 months from the time. 3 would be,
Holidays can be 3 months, either generous. Do you think 2 months or 3 months would be appropriate?
60 days.
60 days, 90 days.
So removal or a new COA by November 27th?
is that doable?
I'll have the request in, yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay.
The removal might be a problem.
Yeah.
So we got the removal or a new COA within 60 days.
Well, Jacob, that's not 60 days from where we are, so is it 60 days or is it November 27th? Because I need to make sure what goes in the minutes is correct.
November 27th.
Okay, November 27th, okay. All right, do you need a link to the COA application again? Do you want me to send you
Sure.
a link to it? Okay, I can do that tomorrow. All right, thank you. You were voted on too? Okay. If,
The board is together because it's right now, and the board has voted on the date for removal, don't need to discuss on that.
Okay, so we'll do a second motion on, specifically on the removal or a new COA submitted by November 27th.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Ellis motion, Patrick seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, got it, thank you. This last one is not a COA, it is a courtesy review, and this is because it's a larger construction project, so this is a time to meet with the applicant to see what their needs are, to see how to work that within the design review guidelines of the district. It's 729 Ferry Street Northeast, on the side of this house. They had some pretty significant storm damage that took down a tree and damaged both the So this is the best before picture I have. It's over there on the left-hand side. You see that newer sun porch. This is the picture after the damage. The sun porch has since been removed. But that gives you a sense of the massing of that sun porch, how it relates to the structures on the back. And there is a patio that is between the sun porch and the main historic portion of the house that you see in this picture. So I'm going to go back to this picture because it probably shows the most. And the applicants here, if you want to come up and walk you through what their end goal is for this and sort of think about the best ways to reach it.
Thank you. I'm Jay Suggs, and we love our home in Old Decatur. We've been here 16 years in this house, Decatur 20 years. I'm a native of Anniston, but don't hold that against me. I actually brought some plans I thought y'all might find of interest, but like Dr. Swoop said, we had some bad storm damage a little over a year ago where a massive pecan tree that I thought was impossible to come down fell on our house, damaged the upper roof, which has subsequently been repaired, and we thank you for your advocacy in helping us with the insurance to get this replaced with the almost original type of tile, clay tile. It looks almost like the 1940. And also getting the chimney rebuilt, which has been rebuilt and is exactly the same as it was before, just better. It's actually the same bricks. The sunroom was a total loss. It had to come down. It was unsafe. Had not been able to use that in well over a year. The porch there that you see with the two-tiered roof was an addition y'all kindly allowed us to add back about 10 years ago. So it had a little bit of roof damage as well, but not like the sunroom. The house was built in 1940, and if you indulge me, I'll pass these plans. I brought the original blueprints. Thank you, Mike. And I've got lots of them, but I'll point out to you in this drawing, which is shown in multiple drawings, is that this was not originally a sunroom. This was originally a porch with a roof and some wrought iron around it. And at some point it was screened, either originally at that time or sometime later, but it was a screened porch. That whole patio has been there since 1940. This was the Lloyd Lively house. I've got multiple drawings here. It shows it's the same thing from the other side of the house, but it shows that it was a porch and there was an exterior door. And then this drawing also shows it's labeled a screened porch and then the terrace. This house is not a static house. It's changed through the years. 20 years ago, the previous owners were allowed by you to extend the kitchen out and build a breakfast room, which I think is an absolutely beautiful and necessary thing in, the 2000s, the 21st century, to have a bigger kitchen, nicer kitchen, and more room for the family. It has copper-like roofing. It's a standing seam steel product. 10 years ago, we added that porch, which you're seeing some views of, that was multi-tiered. That was originally just a patio, but you allowed us to add that beautiful structure on and that chimney that you see at that time, too. And, of course, these are just fantastic spaces. The sunroom actually, I don't know when they converted it to a sunroom. I think it was probably the 80s based on some things that we found during construction, may even been the 90s. Oh, and by the way, there's a pool out there that wasn't original to the house. We have a pool, a little pool house that was, I think, also added in the 80s. So through the years, previous owners and we have striven to make this an even more beautiful house and more functional for a family. This sunroom really has never been used as a sunroom by us. It became my study, which you can imagine having all these windows and looking out on the world and hearing the birds chirp in the morning and on the weekends. But it's kind of small. So the ask is that we modify it and not have it exactly the same as it was. Again, this sunroom was not exactly the way it was in 1940. Anyway, you saw some of the existing pictures. I brought a couple of other pictures on the iPad. This is with the sunroom gone. This is a recent photo. And you can kind of see the dimensions of the length of the house. There's a door that no one ever uses that opened up to the terrace or patio that no one ever uses. And a door that we boarded up that entered into the sunroom. And it kind of shows you the length of the house, but this is a better picture showing you the actual size of what we're talking for square footage. And we have Kevin Corum, our contractor, who's got some more details on the plans, but it's not a really large space. And this little small patio is unusable. That we don't use for anything. It's just hidden by the azaleas. So the ask is that we expand this a little bit. And you know, there's all kind of ways we can do that, but I would like more square footage. I mean, this is like my castle. This is where I do a lot of work. Although I'm a physician, I do a lot of work from home, and this is sort of my space where I can get it done. The ideal thing would be to expand the square footage if we could go out toward that window. This door. The door. We don't need to be having a door there. It's just there are 8 doors at this house, and that's kind of crazy. One of the doors was an upper door that will have to become a window on the upper level here, because that can't be a patio. I hope y'all will approve us converting that to just a window. And then this door to the terrace, we would like to either push the wall that far and let that be part of the new study/sunroom, or if we can't go that far, at least turn that into a window. Because again, we don't need another door. We don't need 8 doors for our house. Kind of a security risk.
Are you thinking that, like, to incorporate both of those slab areas with
Yes.
like a shallow gable on top, and that's why you're talking about taking that door out on the second?
So what I'd like to do is extend that room that way toward Ferry a little bit, as far as not to the corner of the house, but kind of somewhere between the door and the corner. If that's not agreeable to you, we would want to bring it to basically to the door, and then that door will become a window. If this becomes part of if we extend as far as we can, then this would just be bricked up, and it would either just be a wall, or we could enter into the house that way. That would give me a considerable amount of extra square footage for my study. But you know, we're flexible. I just feel like more room. We want it to be beautiful. The inside of the house, we want it to be equally as beautiful as the outside of the house. The other thing is we'd like to raise the roof a little bit, or raise the line. You can see you can see on those porches, we'd like to bring up that height of the sunroom a little bit, or study, to kind of more equally match the roofs for the existing porches. That would give, you know, a sense of greater room in this room. You know, low ceiling heights are a little bit claustrophobic, and you can, I think, dramatically improve the aesthetics of a room and the comfortability of a room if you increase the ceiling height. And we probably would want exposed beams and either have the roof sloped a bit or hipped. We're flexible on that. We just want it to look beautiful, and use the same standing metal seam that would match the copper-like material. It's not actually copper, because that was just too expensive to put on the porch. But
Do it in clay tile, you don't think?
we could. I thought that it would look more appropriate, look better if it mimicked that metal, because we did have a picture of the front of the house. There's a small entry porch that also has the copper. The breakfast room addition has a little bump out with copper on that, and then the garage, which is original to the 1940 house, has a shed, little roof coming down that's also copper.
What kind of fenestration are you talking about putting windows?
Now, you'll have to explain that to me with fenestration.
Just the glazing the windows?
Just open, and it's like, right now, there's a bunch of windows.
Mhm.
Are you thinking about going back more with windows that are similar to what's on the house, or have them?
More like that was my thinking.
Yeah, I think you talk about maybe doing a few less,
Mhm.
maybe giving more wall space, but have the same lap size.
So it would look more like an original window than the sunroom windows.
That's sort of what I'm thinking. So there would be some space between, like maybe set of double windows and then a space. I think probably the same amount or less of windows, but spread out a little more, would work best for me. I do hope I can put some shelves inside because I have lots and lots of books, but with that many windows, you can't put shelves. So we want lots of light, but we also want to be able to put some shelf space. We want more square footage, more airy, just really a beautiful functional structure.
And just looking at it, from what you've told me so far, if you do a taller ceiling, and then you do a low-pitched roof, you may or may not impact that front side window there as well. So I don't know if you've done like a sketch yet.
Yeah, and Kevin has it, Mr. Corm has it. Are you talking about this window? Yeah, we can't get it above that.
Okay.
And this is going to be, needs to be, I believe, converted to a window that mimics this one. So you have a little bit of symmetry there instead of a door.
If you're trying to miss the front window, but also be at the height of that back porch, you're probably going to have to pull the front wall back a little bit in order to miss that.
And the first thing I see, a lot of times what we typically do is we look at that side elevation and we try to be midpoint back. So I think bringing it forward would not be my first option on this. If I were going to increase the square footage, I might go in the other direction.
You mean like
keeping
out?
it at the chimney, but taking it this way a little bit more,
Like which way? Toward,
like away from the house.
like where this monkey grass is?
Yeah, like the front would stay where it is at the chimney.
Right. We looked at that, Kevin and I kind of, which it is an option, bring it out about a foot.
Is the
Well,
sidewalk
honestly,
out here?
It's pebble gravel. This is all destroyed out here. There's, if you go back to one of the other photos, that was where landscaping was, a little pebble walkway, and that all got trashed. But, I mean, aesthetically, I think if it was a little longer that way, to me, it would look better. And I think, in my opinion, I think it'd have more symmetry because right now it ends at the chimney, or ended at the chimney, which from the interior, I thought never looked that great.
I'm not sure where your addition on the right kind of lands, but the house is very symmetrical, so it would look
Well,
nice to kind of have that.
Well,
Yeah.
the original house is very symmetrical, except at the back it's not symmetrical.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the front view.
But as a totality from this, the breakfast room, which is on the right, is not symmetrical at all, not even close to mimicking the sunroom.
Yeah, we're talking about where it's located from the front.
Yeah, I mean, they're not, there's no symmetry at all for that.
And we're just throwing ideas around here, but I understand what you're saying. If it comes all the way out, you change the massing of the front
It does.
quite a bit.
And I don't feel like we have to go all the way out, but I think moving forward toward the front a little bit will give not only more square footage, but in my opinion, look better. We can do both, and we can actually move it out toward that pebble walkway away from the house as well. And then ceiling height to me would be also very, very helpful.
You know, another thing you might do is this was unfortunate at the time, you put in a boat porch, just a kind of like boat porch, but a shallow porch about 3 feet or 4 feet deep right there, and then pick up, put the back in it, gives you a void when you're looking at it. Does that make sense? Like if you're, usually it's here or here.
I have a
So
question. question. In
Yes,
this
ma'am.
original plan,
Mhm.
is it like it was a flat roof and then a patio kind of thing where you came out that door that you were on?
Yes, and you could do that up until last August as well. I don't know why anybody would want to ever sit on that. It was, yeah, it was ugly and it was, well,
Maybe 1 month.
yeah, the terrace was sort of, the railing, yeah, I wouldn't say, we'd no way let our kids go out on that.
What, I can't see the dimensions on here. What's a rough
Kevin.
envelope you're working with
What
on
we're
there?
trying to do is, right now, he's about a 12 by 16 right now currently. So what we were trying to do is extend, obviously, if we took the whole patio in, it'd be a 12 by 46.
We have some additional.
Drawings. And those are just some crude drawings, I'm just sketching some
Yeah,
stuff up.
back of the napkin drawings,
Is
but,
this the front of the house?
I'm just showing you a side view. That's correct. Yes,
that would be
from,
like that.
I can almost guarantee you that will front.
That will,
Yeah,
that'll
that
not
will-
look flat.
that much of a slope.
Put those back on the front.
Yeah.
And the porch that exists has almost no slope at all. That addition porch that you're not seeing in this photo, but it has very little slope. It's enough slope to drain water, but it's not very sloped at all.
This looks like it may not have been passed like a designer or architectural person.
No, this is just a sketch.
I think if you get it in front of
Yeah.
somebody that does design or architecture, they'll be able to help you with the scale and proportions.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking only for myself, but that would never get approved.
Yeah,
The way it's
okay.
sketched out right now.
Well, it has to drain water. It has to not
I
cover the
mean-
window. I know there's a lot of things that would have to happen, and that wouldn't do it.
It not just the roof, I mean, the proportions of the windows, the
Oh, I
size of the
see.
windows.
Yeah, if it's facing the front, you really need to mimic what's on, or kind of get something that's in proportion to what's
Mhm.
there on the front.
other windows on the house.
Yeah. It,
There's two different sizes of the windows in the front. There is the larger windows on the lower level,
Mhm.
shorter windows on the upper level.
yes,
Yeah.
that's
They
traditional.
scale,
Yeah.
they scale, so when you look at right now, the picture doesn't really show you the lower level windows, but they're quite larger than the
Yeah,
upper
they're
level
long.
windows. So they would need to mimic one or the other, I guess.
Yeah,
The
this,
lower side.
Right.
So they're on the lower ones,
Yeah.
the taller ones, but even going back with all the lights as well, it kind of fits the style of the house.
and this is a colonial revival house, of course, was built in 1940. So, I mean, we would just love anything you can do to help make this. We want it to be beautiful
And I
and
think
functional.
there's a version of what you're after that could probably
Mm-hmm.
be sell right through approval. And I think it's very, very good that you got with Dr. Swope and did it.
Well, she's been extremely helpful to us in this whole process.
A wealth of information right there for you. It's just that this is, and as you mentioned, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous house.
Yeah, we love it. Thank
So
you.
when you go to put something on it, you want to make sure that when it's finished, it's going to still be that
Absolutely.
scale and feel that it has right now.
Well, first of all, I'm not an architect, and all I was trying to do was get you an idea of what we're looking for. And the reason that we came, Dr. Swope asked me to do this is we wanted to have the discussion before we got something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was a
No way
really
was I
good.
trying to say that I was in competition
Yeah.
with Randy Wright. I'm not that, but I'm just trying to give an idea of what we're trying to.
Right.
And
There's some things you can do architecturally as well to reduce the visual height of this.
Yeah.
With your trim work and brickwork and that sort of thing. I think the key point you'll need to have when you're putting that together is kind of an idea from the board of how far out they can come with that.
I think that's one of the first decisions is,
Yeah.
yeah,
do you want this incorporated inside?
we'll follow your lead, obviously, and I do value your professional advice on this.
How much setback is the breakfast room?
It's way back. If you look at the floor plan here, you can see it's almost the full length of the house. Has that been changed?
No, that was not there, the breakfast room, so I did not bring the,
Where does it hit on does it hit near the kitchen or the dining
are
room?
you talking about the
The current, one that's built on?
breakfast room?
Yes. Is it in this
It's on
area?
the kitchen.
It's right here?
Yeah, so this kitchen, it comes out, like, so it goes to,
Okay.
so it extends to here, plus there's a, call that little bump out.
Yeah.
Because there's a beam that goes across,
So
in the kitchen, it goes to here, and this is now a porch.
it's still about 16 feet back, 16 and a half, something like that. It's the length of the dining room before that wall starts.
Originally it went to the dining room, but now it comes out to the breakfast room, the kitchen goes to here.
Yes.
And this is now a study, and this is a porch that goes out even more. And then in addition to it being like that, the breakfast room is that basement.
Okay. So you've got a good setback on the right side, and we just got to figure out what kind of setback for the left. And if you're looking at it right now, that porch that's no longer there, it came, what is that about?
Right at the front.
Yeah. Is that about 10 feet back, something like that?
He drew out the dimensions too, of these drawings too, of the current patio. Well, what's left.
Yeah, about 10 feet.
And we're going to do our best to preserve that tile that's on there currently too.
Yeah.
Center of the elevation.
And you've got, have you got this coming out 2 feet in the direction that you were talking about earlier? It looks like it's coming
That
out.
was just an option. I was just saying, he was either going to go toward the straight or come out the other.
Yeah, I mean, sort of the options we were looking at were bring it all the way to, almost to the end of the house, or bring it to right where there is, where the end of that door, or to there. Any of those options give you more room. And another option, of course, we mentioned was bring it out this way. into
How
that
far do they have from the long side of the sunroom before you get to the street?
There's another.
Oh, long time.
Yeah.
Another house there?
Yeah.
Are you-
Corners on this side.
This is the largest yard in Old Decatur.
You got plenty of room.
Plenty of room there?
There's plenty of room.
It's a triple lot, so we got lots of
Yeah,
room.
okay. I think your idea of going to the side more so than coming forward.
It's just what we've done as a commission, as a whole, as we kind of look at the elevations, and normally we say front and go halfway back of the elevation. So if you're looking at it, you're actually in front of that just because of what was existing and already drawn. So I could see us leaving that line as one because it's already there and it was established in
Originally,
40.
yeah.
But coming this way with the structure, to me, kind of goes against our midpoint of the elevation. So that's typically what we do is we take that and say, hey, we're not going to go towards the front.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, if you came almost all the way to the front with this addition, the house is going to be heavy on that left side. And it's
Yes.
not going to feel appropriate when you see it. If you go back and still get the space you need going to the left, I think you would be a much more harmonious addition to the house.
Okay.
That's one of the things I would look at when I was drawing the
Okay.
plan.
And then could we raise the roof height from what it used to be? Of course, we're not going to cover windows, and we'll want to have it sloped appropriately and
I think that all depends on the way it's
drawn
up.
in. Okay. All right. Well,
And how far it goes back. I mean, they've got a sloped hippie roof on that piece over on the opposite side. If they're getting rid of the balcony, you could work at doing something like that. Once you pitch the roof, you give the ceiling height under the pitched roof rather than being flat.
the porch currently it's two-level roof, but that's the height up there for the existing porch roof. You can see it's,
So what you got to be really careful about there, if you pull that height all the way across the front, you're going to have a big forehead on that wall.
yeah, well,
like it needs a cap or something, so you've got to be real careful with
Okay.
the way that's styled out.
Yeah, we don't want to do that either.
And the porch on the back's an addition, right?
It is from 10 years,
And
about 10
that's
years.
on the back of the house, and so it's not viewed from the street. It might be, I don't know if it's viewed from the
You-
other street or not.
You could not, until this sunroom came down, you couldn't view it from the front of the street.
So it has more flexibility than.
And are you draining the water independently off of this roof and not like trying to get it onto the other roof? Okay. Yeah, I think if it's independent, you're probably okay, but that needs to be much shallower. I think the layout of the windows is going to be key.
Okay, yeah.
And style of the windows. These almost look like a tall casement.
Well, that's what's there. There was a case where the window was transferred, was clad window was there. What do you think is?
I wouldn't want to go back with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that that's what was there.
Right.
Originally, so I was just drawing back one over there, but they were clad casement window was transferred.
Yeah. And I think you've got a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Although it was a tragedy.
Yeah.
That it fell and damaged the house, but you've got a great opportunity to make something really nice.
I agree. We want to make it more beautiful and better than before. We'll turn this lemon into lemonade.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
I'd like to make sure my notes are correct so that I have enough guidance if I continue to work with them. So what I'm hearing is they could explore a pitched roof that matches the addition on the other side if the building can hold it, if the slopes and the numbers work out, that they can explore that. That the new addition is not to go forward towards the front, but some flexibility on perhaps going to the side or to the rear. And that the fenestration on the front should match or be compatible with the existing fenestration on the main floor. Now, with adding that addition, pushing additional space into the side yard or into the rear yard, do we have some sort of parameters to give them in terms of how much before they burn a lot of design hours with sort of no guidance on that particular? I mean, we're talking like 5 feet, like what?
It looked like if that option was to go about 2 feet out, make it 14 foot by 16 foot.
Yeah, I don't think 5 feet. I think it'd look hideous
Yeah,
that far.
if we
But
could go out
yeah,
that
I
far.
think probably not more than additional 2 feet out.
And there's a couple of ways you could squeeze a little bit out if you needed it. Like you could have the front wall break and then a little inset and then some more space, and it takes the bulk out of it.
The further you step back from the front elevation, the more you can kind of step out and not make it. That's what you're trying to
So
say.
I wouldn't limit it to 2 feet necessarily.
Okay.
5,
I don't know if I'd go that far. 5 is so high.
4.
It is.
Somewhere through there. Before I did I'd get like a basic concept maybe. Is that fair? Or work with Caroline.
Once they do a courtesy review on smaller projects, typically any additional questions, I'll work with the commission architect on sort of fielding them.
Yeah, okay.
And they typically do not come back until they have a plan that is solidified enough for approval with perhaps minor modifications.
Perfect. Yeah, they'll be in good hands though.
Thank you. I'll take these.
I was brand new. These are incredible.
I didn't have a place to put it. With the new,
We all
the new sunroom, we should have plenty of wall space.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Yes, I'll.
I can scan those in for you.
Oh, I didn't need to do that.
I was saying, I can scan those and put them in cards into the, if you want to move them, yeah, you can see
If
them.
you need the actual blueprint, yeah.
I can scan that.
We don't have to do any kind of motion.
On this one, it's just a courtesy review, so there's no vote.
Thank you so much for coming to talk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm excited for you guys.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Well, you're gonna love it whenever it's done, I guarantee.
Any more discussion? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Get up, please.